My daughter forbade me from attending her wedding, calling me too ugly. But when I entered the hall, the guests were stunned, and she dropped her champagne glass on the floor. She was afraid of embarrassment, but instead she saw something else. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The hipster cafe chair groaned under my weight as I shifted, checking my watch for the third time. 2:15. Beatrice was never late, which meant something big was happening. The exposed brick walls and indie music made me feel like an elephant in a pottery shop. But she'd chosen this place. My black coffee had gone cold 20 minutes ago. Young professionals tapped away on MacBooks around me, their conversations about startups and cryptocurrency floating over the acoustic guitar bleeding from hidden speakers. I pulled my reading glasses from my shirt pocket, then pushed them back. Nothing to read except the anxiety in my chest. The sound of expensive heels on hardwood made me look up. There she was, my beautiful daughter, chestnut hair, perfectly styled, striding through the cafe like she owned it. Her smile was radiant, almost glowing. Something sparkled on her left hand. "Dad," she rushed over, practically bouncing. "I have the most incredible news." I stood up too quickly, the chair scraping against the floor. "Sweetheart, what's Richard proposed?" She thrust her hand toward me, the diamond catching the warm cafe lights. "Look at this ring. Isn't it gorgeous?" My heart nearly burst. "Beatrice, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you." I reached across the small table to squeeze her hand, careful not to knock over the coffee cups. "Tell me everything." "When? How?" She slid into the chair opposite me, her excitement infectious. "Last night at Powell's City of Books, he had them set up this whole romantic scene in the rare book room, candles everywhere, first edition poetry books. It was like something from a movie. Richard sounds like a thoughtful young man. I'd never met him, but any man who made my daughter this happy had my approval. What does he do again?" "He owns a tech startup, very successful." She waved her hand dismissively, the diamond catching light again. "But Dad, that's not even the best part. We're planning the most amazing wedding." I leaned forward, caught up in her enthusiasm. "Tell me about it." "The Rose Garden Pavilion in Washington Park, June 22nd, 150 guests." Her eyes sparkled as she painted the picture. "Imagine it, garden ceremony, with the city skyline behind us, reception under the stars, string quartet for the ceremony, jazz band for dancing. It's going to be absolutely perfect." The pride in my chest swelled. My little girl planning her dream wedding. "It sounds beautiful, sweetheart. I can't wait to walk you down that aisle." Something flickered across her face, too quick to catch. "Actually, Dad, there's something I need to discuss with you about the wedding." "Anything. You know I will help however I can." She touched my arm, her voice becoming softer, more careful. "The venue, the catering, the flowers, the music, it all adds up. We're talking about a $40,000 event." I blinked. 40,000 was more than I'd spent on my truck. That's quite a bit. "I know it sounds like a lot." Her fingers traced patterns on the table. "But this is my one chance, Dad. My one perfect day. Richard's family is very well conned, very prominent in Portland society. Everything has to be absolutely flawless." The desperation in her voice tugged at my heart. This was my only daughter, my only child, since her mother died 10 years ago. If I couldn't give her the perfect wedding, what kind of father was I? "Of course I'll help." The words came out before I'd even fully processed the amount. "It's my daughter's wedding day." Her smile transformed her entire face. "Really, you mean it?" "I mean it." I pulled out my checkbook, hands slightly shaky from excitement and the magnitude of the moment. $40,000 for my beautiful daughter's perfect wedding. I wrote the amount carefully, my engineering training making me double-check each digit. The number looked enormous on the small check, but watching Beatrix's face made it worth every penny. "Thank you, Daddy." She hadn't called me that in years. "You have no idea what this means to me." I tore out the check and slid it across the table. She picked it up with reverence, studying the amount as if memorizing it. "We should celebrate," I said, standing up and reaching for my jacket. "Come over to the house." I'll make dinner. We can look through your mother's jewelry box. Maybe there's something you'd like to wear. That sounds lovely. She tucked the check carefully into her designer purse. How about Thursday? I can come by around 10 o'clock in the morning. Perfect. 3 days to prepare something special for her. Maybe pick up some flowers for the house. I'm so proud of you, Beatrice. So happy. Walking to our cars in the light Portland drizzle, I felt taller than I had in months. My daughter was getting married, and I could provide for her dreams. I'd spent 3 days preparing for this moment. The house was spotless. Fresh daffodils sat in my late wife's crystal vase, and a cream-colored envelope rested on the coffee table like a ceremonial offering. Inside was the check that would make my daughter's dreams come true. At exactly 10 o'clock, Beatrix's BMW pulled into the driveway. I watched through the living room window as she gathered her purse and phone, her movements brisk and efficient, businesslike almost. "Come in, sweetheart," I called out as she knocked. The doors open. She entered wearing a tailored coat and checking her watch. "Hi, Dad. Sorry I can't stay long. I have a meeting at 11:30. "No problem at all." I gestured toward the living room where family portraits lined the mantel and my worn leather recliner held court over the space. I wanted to make this special. She perched on the edge of the sofa, purse in her lap, while I settled into my chair and picked up the envelope. "Beatrice, I've been thinking about this moment since you were little." My voice caught slightly. "When you'd play wedding with your dolls, making me walk them down the hallway while your mother played piano. I always knew someday I'd help make your real wedding perfect." I extended the envelope toward her with both hands. "Here's the check, sweetheart, for your perfect wedding. Every penny you need to make your dreams come true." She took it without ceremony, immediately opening it to verify the amount. "Thanks, Dad." The casualness stung a little, but I pushed the feeling aside. Young people were different now, less sentimental. "I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress, walking down that aisle. My beautiful daughter starting her new life." Beatrice folded the envelope and tucked it into her purse. Then she looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "Actually, Dad, there's something else I need to tell you. You won't be at the wedding." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What? What do you mean?" "I mean you're not invited." She said it matter-of-factly, as if discussing the weather. "You won't be there." I gripped the arms of my recliner. "Beatrice, I don't understand. Why wouldn't I be at my daughter's wedding?" "Because you're too disgusting." The words came out flat, without emotion. "I can't risk you embarrassing me in front of the guests. Richard's family, my colleagues, important people from the community. They'll all be there. I need everything to be perfect." The room tilted. "Disgusting." "Beatrice, what are you talking about? Look at yourself, Dad." She gestured at me dismissively. "You're overweight. You wear the same old clothes. You don't understand how to behave around successful people. I can't have you there making me look bad." I struggled to stand up, my legs unsteady. "Is this about my weight? I know I've gained some pounds since your mother died, but it's about everything." She stood too, slinging her purse over her shoulder. "Your appearance, your mannerisms, the way you talk. You don't fit in with the life I'm building. But I'm your father. I raised you. I loved you. I just gave you $40,000, which I'm keeping, by the way." She moved toward the door. "Thanks for that, but don't expect a wedding invitation." "Beatrice, please." I followed her, stumbling slightly. "We can work this out. I can lose weight, buy new clothes. Just forget about the wedding, Dad." She opened the front door. Cool morning air rushing in. "Pretend it's not happening." I grabbed the doorframe for support, watching her walk down my front steps, like she was leaving a business meeting. "Sweetheart, don't do this. Please don't do this." But she was already in her car, backing out of the driveway without looking back. I stood in my doorway until her BMW disappeared around the corner, the sound of her engine fading into the quiet Laurelhurst morning. The house felt enormous and empty behind me. $40,000 was gone, and so was my daughter's respect. The family photos on the mantel seemed to mock me. Happier times when I was a husband and father, not just a disgusting old man who embarrassed people. I closed the door and stared at the space where she'd stood, her words echoing in the sudden silence. The echo of her car door slamming still rang in my ears. 2 hours later, I sat in my recliner, staring at the coffee table, where the envelope had been, replaying every word she'd said. Too disgusting. My hands were shaking, not from age or caffeine, but from something deeper, a tremor that started in my chest and worked its way out to my fingertips. I kept hearing her voice, that matter-of-fact tone when she delivered the news, like she was canceling a dentist appointment. "You're too disgusting." I forced myself to stand up, my knees protesting. The hallway mirror caught my reflection as I walked toward the bathroom, and I stopped. When was the last time I'd really looked at myself? I mean really looked, not just the quick glance while brushing my teeth, or combing what was left of my gray hair. In the bathroom, under the harsh fluorescent light, I saw what Beatrice saw, 265 pounds hanging on a frame that had once been solid muscle, gray hair that needed cutting growing wild around my ears, work-worn hands that showed every year of construction sites and tool belts, clothes that had fit properly a decade ago now, stretched tight across my belly. Disgusting. I gripped the sink edge, my knuckles going white. Is this what my daughter saw when she looked at me? Not the man who taught her to ride a bicycle, who'd stayed up all night when she had pneumonia at 7, who'd worked double shifts to pay for her college tuition, just a fat old man who would embarrass her in front of her important friends. The mirror didn't lie, but neither did the rage building in my chest. She'd planned this. The whole cafe meeting, the excited announcement, the careful way she'd asked for money. She'd known she was going to take my $40,000 and then cut me out of her life. She'd calculated exactly how to get what she wanted. I walked back to the living room, past the family photos that told a different story. There was 8-year-old Beatrice on my shoulders at the zoo, 16-year-old Beatrice at her high school graduation, my arm around her as she held her diploma, 25-year-old Beatrice at her college graduation, both of us beaming. When had I stopped being her hero and become her embarrassment? Fine, Beatrice. I sat down at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. The screen flickered to life, showing my desktop, a photo of Martha and me on our 25th wedding anniversary, both of us laughing at something I couldn't remember now. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then I typed, "Personal trainers, Portland, Oregon." Dozens of results appeared. Professional fitness coaches, transformation specialists, people who helped other people become the best versions of themselves. I clicked through website after website, reading testimonials from men my age, who lost 50, 60, 70 pounds, before and after photos that look like different people entirely. You want to see what your disgusting father is really worth? I opened a new tab and searched Nordstrom Men's Clothing Portland.